project 55 of this course. So in this video we are going to be creating a two-sided scroll by just using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So to do that, first of all, we have to create a folder, give a name of like 055 of two-sided scroll. Okay, so inside this folder we are going to be creating three files. So the first one will be index.html file, the second one will be style.css file, and the third one will be just app.js for JavaScript. Alright, so now let me just zoom in a bit so that we can just focus on our coding. Here we are going to be just writing our doc type HTML, and now let's just write like I don't know, two-side scroll be fine, and now let's just link it with our CSS and also JavaScript as well. So that's that. Now let me just collapse this metadata, right click on it and open with a live server. Here for HTML we are going to be writing a section with a class of slider container. Inside this slider container we will have a new section with a class of left slide. Okay, and inside that we're going to have a few games, like let me just write a div with a class of game1. Inside there we are going to have like h1 of like god of war. Okay, so that's that. Now the next thing which I'm going to do is I'll just duplicate this section a few times. So this one will be game1, not this section but this div. So game1, and then like the first one will be god of war, then the Witcher, Watch of Dogs 2, and then Assassin's Creed. So now let me just change the name of it to the Witcher, and also just change the class to like 2, and this one will be now set to 3, and instead of gods of war let me just write like Watch Dogs 2, and now here this one will be just Assassin's Creed. Okay, so now let me just save that. So this will be it for the first section. Underneath the second section we are going to be creating a new section with the class of right side. Okay, and inside there we are going to have a few images. So now let me just write like image and also image1. Okay, and duplicate a few times. So this one will be now set to image2, and this one will be image3, and then we have is image4. Underneath there we're going to have a new section with the class of buttons container, and as the name suggests that it will be a container. So now let me just write a button, and let me give ID of like down button, and here we are going to be placing our HTML entity. So here we are going to be writing the and symbol, and then pound symbol, then add 595. Okay, and now let's just close that and duplicate it one more time, and this one will be now instead of 5, now let me just write 3 in here, and now we are good to go. But this one will be now up. So once we save it, and this is what we are getting right now. Okay, so if you are wondering like where is these symbols came from, these came from these HTML entities. Alright, so that's that. Now the next thing which you have to do is to just go to our CSS, and now let's just style our site. So the first thing I would do, zoom in a bit, and is to just remove that margin and also that padding, and box sizing will be border box for now. Now let me just add like slider container, and it will be now equals to position of relative, and also overflow will be hidden, width will be just 100 viewport width, and height will be 100 vh. Save it, and this is how it looks like right now. Alright, so the next thing which I'm going to select is this left side. So now let me just copy the name of it, and now let's just paste it right here. So now let me just provide a height of 100%, and also the width will be just like 35%. Position will be just absolute, top will be 0, and left will be also 0. And now let's just provide our transition to it. So it will be like transform property and 0.8 second, and also ease in and out. And now we cannot see that right now. So the next thing which we have to do is to select all of the divs which is inside this class. So we have this div, we have these div right here. So now let's just select all of them. So now let me just write this left side and every div which is underneath this slide div, I mean like this left side div. So height will be 100%, and then we have width will be also 100%. And now let's just provide a display of flex to it, justify content of center, align items will be also center. Alright, so now you can see everything is center, but we aren't providing any background color to it, so that's why we cannot see nothing. Let me just add a background color of like I don't know, black will be fine. So here you can see we have this color right here, and everything is gone right here, like it's not showing up right here. So for now let me just remove this background color. You know what, I'm gonna undo it one more time. So once we save it, so this is looking like that. So now let's just format this text right here. So let me just write like the left side, and now let's just select H1, which is these H1s right here. Okay, so I'm gonna just change the font size to like 2.5 rems so that it can look a bit better and bigger right here. Okay, and you can choose whichever kind of font you like, but I just wanted to go with a serif one, not a sans serif, but just a serif one, because it's kind of like a gaming font, so that's why I'm using it. All right, so this is it for this section. So now let's just style this section. So for that, we are going to be using a right side, so right slide, okay, which is this right slide right here. Copy it and paste the name of it. So right slide instead of side, it will be slide, not side. Save the file and also paste it right here, and this one will be also right slide. Okay, so that's that. Now let me just add like a height of 100% to it, and also position will be absolute. Let me just write a position absolute. Top will be 0, left will be also just write 35%, width will be just 65%. Okay, and now finally let's just add our transition, not timing function, but just a simple transition of like transform, and also 0.8 second ease in and out. Save it. Okay, so we cannot see something right here because we don't have any images right here, so that's why we cannot see that. And now let me just add a color of like green. Save it. And now here you can see we have this second side right here, like right side. This will be our left side and this one will be our right side. Let me remove that. Now let me just select this buttons container, which is right here. So now let me just copy this name and paste it right here so that we can see our buttons at the center. So now let me just write a position of absolute on it, and also okay, I forgot to include. So now let me just get these buttons right here. So position will be absolute and left will be 35% and top will be just 50%. So once we save it, so here you can see we have this first button and we have the other one which is not showing up right here. But you know what, I'm going to comment this background color for here, and we cannot see that other button. So now let me just get that really quickly. To do that, first of all, let's just style all of our buttons. So let me just write a button, and let me just remove that border of none, and also provide a cursor or pointer on it. Padding will be 10 pixels all around. Background will be just transparent, and also color will be totally white, and also font size will be 2.2 rems. Save it, and this is alright. So that's also gone because we changed everything from it. Save it, and now we still cannot see that, but you will see that just in a second. So first of all, let me just get that down button, and let's just provide a transform of translate on -100%. Save it, and here is our first button right here. And now let's just get our second button and duplicate this one, and instead of down it should be up one. Okay, and now let's just change the transform property of this one to translate Y, and this one should be translate X. Okay, so -100% and -100% will be fine, but we cannot see the other one, which is right here, because we have to provide a color. Let me just add a color right here, like background color will be teal maybe. Save it, and now here you can see we are now seeing both of our buttons right here. Alright, so that was it about for buttons. So now let's just add our images. So first of all, we provide classes of image right here to all of them, because we don't want to repeat our code. So we want to write a OOC right here, OOCSS, like objective oriented CSS, so that we don't have to use those properties again and again. So the first thing I would do is I'll just select it or images, which is these images right here. Okay, so here we are going to have to just provide a width of 100% on it. Height will be also 100%, and then let's just add our background size of cover, and also just write a background repeat of no repeat, and background position will be just set to center. Save it, and we still cannot see that because we don't have any images right here. All right, so that's that. Now let's just select our image. So let me get our image dash one, which is this image dash one class right here. And now here, what we have to do, we have to just write a background and URL. And now I'm gonna go to this side. Let me just open this text file. And now I'm getting my images from this side. I don't know if that's free or paid. I don't even know that. But let me just get to this side, and here you can find a lots of cool images, high quality one. So if you just search for video games or just games, so it will now show you all of these cool game images right here. Some of them are crap, but here you can see the Call of Duty image. I mean, like, who will not use this Call of Duty image on their website? And there's a lot of them, like Assassin's Creed. Here you can see that. And this one is that other one. I can't even know. I guess this is a Metro one. I already know this is, I guess, the Devil May Cry. Sorry, I can't remember the name. Grand Theft Auto. And you can choose whichever kind of image you like, but I've choose these specific ones. So now let me just put them. All right, so I guess I already opened that. Let me just close this one, and this one will be the first one. And by the way, if you want to get these images, so you can find the link in the description below in this video, and now you can just grab that. Okay, so this will be our first image. Save it, and now let's just see. All right, so here you can see we have this image right here, but that's massive, and we already gave a class of no appearance center. But why it's not working? I don't know why this class doesn't work there. Do you still have? Let me just refresh it. Come on. No, you don't work there. Let me just copy it from there, cut it, and paste it here, so it will be now perfectly center. Come on, you can't do that with me. I've already written this code. I don't know why it's doing it with me. Let me just paste it one more time. Okay, so it doesn't work. You know what? We have to just copy it and paste it again and again. That's gonna be suck, you know? You already write this code and it worked, but it's not working right now. I don't know why. But you know what? Let me just paste it here, save it. Who cares? So this will be the first one. I'm really sad about that, by the way. Just duplicate it a few times. Like, how many of them? We have 4, so now we have 1. Change this one to 2, and let's just get our images, which is this one. Let me just copy that for the second one and paste it right here. And also let me just get the third one, and instead of 2, let me just write 3 in here and paste it here. And also this one will be the fourth one. So now let me just copy that and change this one to 4. Okay, so now let me just paste it right here, save it, and everything should work. But I'm really sad is like why we have to repeat this code again and again. I mean, like, we already wrote this code and it worked, but I don't know what's wrong. Anyways, so let's just you know what, I'm gonna try it one more time. Who knows if it start working. Let me just paste it right here, and let me just remove the rest of them. Alright, I messed up. Not that one. Let me select these. So the first one, second one, third one, and we don't provide this one. Let me just cut it. Come on. So it will not work. Let me just cut it from here and write it manually. Alright, so I don't know why, but who cares? Anyway, so that's our HTML code and our CSS code. And by the way, I forgot to provide a colors for each of them. So now let me just write that really quickly underneath these images. Or you know what, above these images would be fine, because we want to go to the same process. All right, so now let's just select our game one, and you can choose whichever kind of background you like. I'm gonna just go with that one. So the first one we have is like 1D1 at 1.5. Okay, and now let's just duplicate that a few times, like 2, 3, 4. Change this one to 2, and change this color to like 405-260. And now let's just change this one to 3, and now let's just change this one color is to 73891D. Okay, and this one will be 223941, kind of like my mobile number. Save it, and we will still cannot see that because we have because once we change these colors, so we want to provide those colors in there, and I've already given him a color of that. So now let's just remove their background color of teal from there, and also that black color from there as well. So now we've get this brown color. Alright, so now we are done with the HTML and CSS side of this code. So now let's jump right into JavaScript, and now let's just provide our interactivity to it. So the first thing I would get from a JavaScript is our, first of all, our slider container, and will be now equals to document.query selector. And now here we just have to write our slider container. And now let's just get our slide right. It will be now equals to document.query selector of right slide. And also const slide left, it will be now equals to document.query selector of this left, not query command, query selector of this slide, not slide, but query selector of left slide. Okay, that's that. Now let's write const up button. It will be now equals to document.query selector, or get element ID would be fine, like up button, duplicate it, and then we have is or down button. So now let me just change the name of it or to like down, then write like const slider length, and it will be now equals to document dot, not document, so it will be now equals to slide right dot query select raw. And now here we have to select our div and its length. Okay, so now let me just get all of them like slider container, and then duplicate it a few times, and change this one to slide right, and change this one to slide left, change this one to up, not up button, but slide right, slide left, and then up button. And also we have a down button, and finally we have as a slider length, slider and length. Save our file. Now let's just open our developer tools. Alright, so that's that. So we are missing something at line of 10. So what's the slide left, and then we have left live left slide. Now let's just check it. We still get nothing. Left slide, what was the class? Let me just check for it. Right slide, slider container, left side slide. What did I lift? Left, come on. Right slide, left slide, button 1, button 2, and we are now getting the length of 4. Anyway, so this is programming, so sometimes typing a bit fast can make you just a little bit annoyed. Anyhow, so now let's just create our active slide index of, or kind of counter. So now here we have to attach event listener on 2 buttons, which will be like button 1 dot add event listener, and once we click on the first button, we want to call this function. What will be the function name? The function name will be next slide, and it will be now set to up. Okay, duplicate it, and this one will be now set to down. And now let's just create this function, which will be next slide. Okay, so now let me just create this function and write a next slide, and it will be take a few params. So I'll just write params in here, and now let's just write const slider height, and it will be now equals to slider container dot client height. Okay, so that's that. Now let's just check our condition. If params, if this parameter is equal to, let me just write up, like here we pass this up right here. So what do we have to do? We have to provide or active slide plus plus, we have to increment or index right here. And also let's just check for active index is greater than slider length, not slider, and then length is -1. So now we have to just write our active index, and now let's just set that to 0. Save it. So that's that. Now the next thing which you have to do is to check our next condition, which will be if params is equal to this down. So then we want to just write like active index, and then we want to decrement it. So then we want to check what another condition like active slide index is less than 0. So now we have to just write or animation, which will be like active slide index, and it will be now equals to slide length. Now we have to just remove 1. So save it. So underneath this FNL statements, right slide right, and now let's just provide a style to it and transform. Style of transform and it will be now equals to this translate property, translate y property, and here we just have to pass or active index times just right or slide height, slider height. Okay, so that's it, and we also have to write or negative sign right there. Okay, so we cannot forget then also or pixels in there. So that's that. Now the next thing which you have to do is to just write like a slide left, and it will be now equals to style. And now let's just check the change also the transform property of him to like translate to the y-axis, and now let's just pass or active slide index, and now let's just write it times slider height. Okay, and now here we also have to just pass our pixels, and now we are pretty much good to go. But also let's just write our last thing here. Let me just add that like slide left will be now equals to style dot top, and now let's just add that too. And here we have to just write parentheses and slider length, and now let's just -1 from it, and it will be times 100 VH. And also this button should be down button instead. Save it. Now if you click on this button, so it will now give us this image, and then this image also, this Gods of War, Assassin's Creed, and then we have Watch Dogs 2, and then The Witcher, Gods of War 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. All right, so now we are good. But now let's just write a little bit of transition to it, so that it will just take a little bit of time. And also I don't like this code. Let me just show you. I don't like this code that I'm repeating myself again and again. So let me just cut that from here, and also let me just remove this code from here, remove it from here, and also remove it from here. So what I can do is that I have to just go up there, and inside there, let me just underneath there, right side, and now let me just select all of these divs which is inside this right side right here, and now let me just add that background properties on them as well. So now I'm gonna just do is like just write a right side, yep, that's that. And now I want to select all of their divs, and I want to paste this right here. So now if we save that, so here you can see it's still working right here. All right, so here you can see we have this perfectly centered images right here, and it's taking its place. And by the way, instead of transform, I misspelled it, so it should be not transform, but it should be let me just write it transform. Save it. So now if you click on that, now we are talking right here. I was just missing this debugging in JavaScript, like a programming language, can be really easy, but debugging in CSS and HTML can be a really pain in the ass. Here you can see I just messed up with this this transform is spelling, and we didn't get like the same result as we expected. So here you can see now this is a totally different site right now. It's taking its time, and now we have this kind of animation. And now here you can see we are also changing this text as well. So if you click on that, so The Witcher, Gods of War, Assassin's Creed, and Watch Dogs. All right, so you can choose whichever kind of images you like. You can choose for the nature images, your boyfriend girlfriend images, and etc. So I just choose the game images. So I guess that was it about for this project. And now the final thing I want to talk to you about is, if you guys don't know about Git and GitHub, so feel free to skip this video and jump right into the next one. And if you guys do know about Git and GitHub and want to push your code into your GitHub repository, so this is what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to just write like git status, and now let me just write like git add everything, and then git commit -m, and then let me just write like two slides, or two sides would be two sides anime, two sides scroll, there we go, two side scroll would be fine. So now if I push my code, push my code to my origin master, so it will now push our code into our GitHub repository. So now let me just refresh that, and now here you can see we have this 55 right here. So if I click on that, so we have this index.html file which will include all of our code right here. Then we have this app.js file which will also include all of our code, and then we have this style.css file and which will also include our code. Alright, so if you want to grab this code, so feel free to do that if you want to. And I guess that was it about today's video, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.